ready for the next battle.
Hey everyone, Bloodworth here, and we got a cool opportunity today to talk to the team from Tekken 8. So it's almost time for Tekken 8. I'm wondering, with this game in particular, and since there's such a big gap between releases nowadays, what were kind of like your biggest goals, your biggest kind of aspirations to like what you wanted to accomplish with this game?
テッケン8で達成したかったことは
He had two main goals. One of them was actually to renew the whole look of the game visually, was very important. But then also to kind of provide that arcade-like experience in the virtual arcade atmosphere that we've created for both the Arcade Quest and the online Tekken Fight Lounge, right? Players can improve their game in the same kind of manner that they would do in the arcade. And so the content's kind of tailored to that. I think the most important thing for me was, since Tekken 7 was out so long and people really got used to the visuals, at first when it was in the arcade they thought, oh, it looks amazing. Then after 5 years to 6 years, they're like, oh, maybe not so much. We recreated the models from scratch, so all of it has been drastically changed, so even for the returning characters. That was really important for me personally, make it more approachable to a wide audience.
Yeah, and I've appreciated those things as well, because I'm kind of like one of those lapsed fighting game players. The older I get, the less time I have to put into it. So yeah, like you kind of made some of those steps in Tekken 7, but kind of talk about like where you wanted to go in 8 and like how you really approached making it easier for people to come in and not be so intimidated.
It might feel daunting in general to try to get back into it. Some people feel like really let down when they're defeated for the first time or something like that. That hurdle of, because it's one-on-one, one of you is going to lose. And also another problem is you see the Tekken World Tour and you see like the best of the best playing. It looks like it's more complex than it really is, when it's actually a lot of fun just to pick up a controller and to button mash and to feel the moves come out. Characters all have 100 moves or so for characters, so people feel like they need to use all of them or they need to know them all to be good. So that's like our special style lets you know, hey, you only need like 5 moves maybe to enjoy the game.
Yeah, let's talk about the heat system there as well, and both in how that's kind of like just aided the general excitement, but then also like what you've seen in play tests from people that do know the series a little bit more, and how that sort of changes their approach to combat flow.
You can choose at any time when you want to go on the offensive. So normally, if we didn't have the heat system, you kind of have to look at your opponent and look for an opening before you could really go on the offensive. But the heat system, you can just say that, okay, now I want to go after my opponent. And you can just engage the heat system, and you're at an advantage, and it lets you be a lot more aggressive in your play style. If you're a higher level player, you have to be aware of if your opponent has that available to them at that point or not. And then if they do engage that means you have to be a little bit more careful in how you approach your opponent. Or perhaps if you still have your heat system left, you can actually choose to counter your opponent by engaging your own heat system. And then it's more about what tools you and your opponent have at that particular moment. So the game changes quite a bit with that. It's great because just like your average novice player, it lets you go on the offensive. That's all you have to really worry about. But if you're a more intermediate or advanced player, you realize that you have a lot more tools available to your particular character because they do things that they can't normally do. You have control over an overpowered character, and those are always fun to control, right? But it balances out because it's limited by time. You only have that window.
Our Discord community just last week voted on the top 10 most dysfunctional families in video games. And the Mishima family was number 1. So yeah, why do you think that has been something that's kind of come up in the story themes over the years, and then how's kind of that influence where you're taking the story in 8 without going into spoilers?
It's kind of maybe based on Japanese culture that like the son has to kind of eclipse the father at some point. Just kind of was on a different scale with the Mishimas, as you had the fights between father and son, throwing each other into volcanoes or off of cliffs, etc. It's much more global in its setting, as they've kind of like engulfed the whole world in their factions, etc.
This is from one of our viewers. So when a character uses real-world martial arts, how much input do you get from someone who is proficient in that particular style when developing that character's animations?
One of the great examples of that probably is for Taido, which is the character Reina. uses this time for Tekken 8. The motion capture was actually done by Tetsuji Nakano-san, who was a 4-time champion of the title, just so that we have a deeper understanding of the martial art. And the animators went to his dojo or practice area and actually took the classes to find out, what it was all about. So all that stuff made it into Tekken. Everyone on the team, they love martial arts. I mean, we have several that are actual practitioners, whether that's capoeira, MMA, Muay Thai. We have a lot of people who are actually doing this.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and everyone, thanks for watching, and look forward to Tekken 8 on January 26th.
Thank you.
Es hora de entrar. Aquí viene el espectáculo de su cena. 風間流の技お見せします。
Round 1. Fight!